So guys, as you guys know, RJ's been on the channel before. He's become a good friend of the channel. Oh shit, I should probably turn the fan on. Yeah, it's gonna get hot in here. But yeah, RJ, thanks for coming by. And we're gonna talk about not just anime, but other things as well. So if you guys want to skip to the anime part, since this is an anime channel, I'll leave the timestamp down here. But I feel like you guys will like all the conversations that we will be having. So please try to watch as much as you can.
What? RJ knows more than just about anime? People are so shocked.
I know, dude. Literally, it's because you watch almost all anime all day. So
Yeah,
I believe it.
I mean, but I can talk about other things, guys. I can talk about other things sometimes.
All right, let's get into racism. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow.
You know what's crazy? Me and Cardiac did end up talking about racism a little bit in our last recording, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, let's get into the actual stuff, guys. For those of you that don't know RJ, we'll be getting into that. So, RJ, why did you start a YouTube channel?
Why did I start a YouTube channel? Oh, wow. Money. No, stop. No, YouTube has always been like I guess a side dream of mine. So I'm a filmmaker, for those who don't know. I like making videos. Short films are my passion. Hopefully, you know, that works into feature films one day. And I've always wanted to make money off being creative. So I guess money in a sense, but you know, with YouTube, it's not like instant money. Don't go into YouTube for money.
Okay.
I do it because I love making videos, and I would love to make YouTube my full-time job, but unfortunately, it's hard.
Okay.
But yeah, I just love making videos. To be honest.
Oh, okay.
And I love sharing with a larger audience. And one day, our channel manager, Mark, back when we were in high school, said, "Hey, you watch a lot of anime. We should start a YouTube channel." We didn't do that because, you know, we're just high school kids, just saying a bunch of stuff. But one day, I was in college. I was in film school, and we were in. I was in, because we didn't go to the same college. I was in a Walt Disney class, learning about Disney.
There's a Walt Disney class, like specifically for Disney. Oh, okay.
It was for Disney, the history of Disney, Walt, how he started the studio, literally all the details of Disney that's been through. I know all the drama.
Oh wow, that's
trying to cover up.
That's interesting. Okay,
it's
cool.
It's quite interesting what you learn from actually studying how Disney was made. But basically, Walt took a chance on Snow White. It was the first Disney kind of feature film that he ever made.
They told him not to. They told him not to do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they told him not to do it. They told him not to do it because they were just like, no one's ever seen an animated feature of this length. It's not going to be a success. But he just did it. He went for it. And he did it. Put the whole studio online. The studio would have been bankrupt if Snow White wasn't a success. As we know, it was. And Disney is what it is today. So yeah, and I was just watching that in class, and I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna create an anime YouTube channel. Of course, I started watching like months before that, anime YouTube itself. Geek, Mother's Basement, See Rival Wolf, etc., etc.
Mother's Basement.
Okay. Leave Jeff alone. But yeah, I started watching him, and I was just like, oh, this is the thing. And I was like, I can do that. And I went to the computer lab that night, created the YouTube channel on the rise, and the rest is just history.
The computer lab is crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Computer lab. the computer lab. Point Park University's computer lab. Shout it out if you want to go there. And be like, why? You want to break it to the college and be like, hey, I'm trying to see the historical landmark where RJ created On the Rise.
That's crazy.
If you want to do that, go ahead. I don't live there anymore, so have fun. But
oh, okay. Well, then, there you go. Real quick, I had so one of my inspirations, Tim Chongtarangsu, aka Tim DeLaGhetto. I remember he was talking on his pod about how he made a YouTube channel to just promote himself, to be able to elevate himself into actual like traditional media, did you see yourself doing YouTube kind of like that, or did you just compartmentalize YouTube's its own thing, and my, you know, my dream of being in traditional media is like a separate thing, or anything like that?
So no, I definitely came into YouTube with that thought. I came to YouTube with all the thoughts. Like I came to YouTube, I want to work so I can do this full time. I want to work so I can use this for like my actual filmmaking career. I want to get as much out of this as possible. And I also love, creating videos. Um, Side note, if you are planning on starting a YouTube channel, don't just go in trying to be the next PewDiePie. Don't do that.
Oh, don't do
You
please don't.
you actually have to have a love for this because it will be a long and hard journey unless you get extremely lucky, which 9 times out of 10 you will not. But yeah, no, I definitely went in thinking that I could use this to elevate my career within the filmmaking world. I love, for those who don't know, I love animation,
Of
and I love
course.
making films. And one day I do want to make an animation film. And having a YouTube channel where you just constantly discuss animation, especially foreign animation, to understanding where an audience loves your content so much that they watch it constantly, to an understanding of that level shows. And studios are, it's more credibility basically. So if I were to
Okay.
go into a studio and use my YouTube channel, be like, hey, I actually review, I know anime, da 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 da. Here's
Hmm.
proof. It shows credibility. I don't only know animation, but I know storytelling in a way.
Yeah.
Um, so with like it's like a critic making a movie, which they a lot of times do. So it's like that.
Okay, so you went to school to try to make an animated movie, but what exactly did you go to school for, and what do you actually really want to do in animation per se? Because when people say like, I want to make an animated movie, they just think, oh, you want to like actually do the animation, when that's not always true. You know what I mean? So if you want to
Mhm.
elaborate on that, you know what I mean? Like, what do you actually want to do?
So I didn't actually go to school for animation. The animation department was completely different. I did work with them sometimes. I went to school for live action filmmaking.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And basically, what I want to do is I want to create both animation. I want to create both live action. Now, for the animation side, I can't draw. I can't draw. I understand how animation works. I took the classes. I understand the process of creating it. I would have to review on the technical terms of everything, but I understand the process of creating animation, so I understand how it works. But I can't draw. So for animation, I would specifically write it. I would be this. I would be the script writer. I wouldn't be able to do the storyboards. I would have to get my own director and stuff like that. For live action though, live action is different. I went to school for that. I know how to produce a film. I know how to direct a film. I know how to write a film, and
Oh,
I
okay.
current and I currently do that. I also know how to edit a film. I don't like editing. I like to get someone else to do it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm too busy editing YouTube videos regardless, so I'm not about to edit my own films. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, for live action, I do way more in the creative process.
Okay.
For animation, I would probably only just write it.
Oh, okay, so for live action, like, would you prefer writing a live action too, or would you just prefer like I want to produce or direct a live action film?
I prefer writing it. I prefer writing and directing
Okay.
it. It's just
Okay.
it's so much, you get so much more out of if you know how to direct. If you get so much more out of your vision if you write it yourself, basically. I've
Yeah.
learned. And I've had direct other projects before and have, sat down with other writers and be like, what did you see? Here's what I saw, da 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 da, discussing themes and stuff like that. But it's just easier when it's all up here and yeah, and
Right.
it's you.
Makes sense.
And so yeah, I definitely would like to direct and write my own stuff. Sort of like a Jordan Peele situation. Um, as for producing it, maybe not. Producing is a lot. Is a lot. I can work with a producer. If I have to, I'll produce it myself. I mean, my recent short film, I produced myself. So, but if I don't have to, I'll get a producer.
Okay, yeah, definitely, for sure. So let's get into one of the main topics since we're already on the subject. So I am very much not in the entertainment industry. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on. Basically, what I know is
Hmm.
the writers feel like they are not being paid what they're worth, and they're not being treated what they believe they are worth and what they bring to the table. So they are on strike right now, to be able to negotiate better pay, better conditions, etc., and all that stuff. And on top of that, now the actors are joining their strike Even though I don't know exactly their reasons for doing it, but I know they're joining the writers in their strike, and this hasn't happened since the 60s. So if you can educate me a little bit more about what's really going on, because honestly, I only know really bare bones about the writers and hardly anything about the actors. So, and RJ lives in LA and works in the industry, so please, if you can, elaborate as much as you can on, and educate me, please. I want to be educated.
So the writers and the actors are on strike for the exact same reason.
Oh, exact reason. Okay.
The exact same reason. The payment that you think the Hollywood writers and Hollywood actors are receiving is not as much. It is quite impossible, especially for actors. It's more possible for writers, depending on how many not how many gigs you get, but like what exactly you're writing, and who you're working for. But it's impossible. It's literally impossible to be a full-time actor and just that.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the full-time actors that you could think of that you think have a lot of money and don't have any other side jobs and don't have any other investments, it's not true. The first one I can think of is probably someone like Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is not making a living off acting full-time. That's why you see him in so much stuff.
Wow.
That's everyone's like, why is Nicolas Cage everywhere? That's why. Because he constantly needs to work. Well, he is making a living off full-time acting probably, but he's in so much stuff. That's why. Like that's why he keeps working. Unless you are someone like a huge actor like a Robert Downey Jr. or a Chris Evans with that Marvel contract. But the problem with that is that one main thing they took out is residuals in both writing and both acting. And residuals is basically a constant payment that you receive every time the work makes money. So, for example, one of the biggest cases of residuals that you can think of is the TV show Friends. Every time Friends airs, the cast of Friends receives a cut. Every time someone streams it on Netflix, the cast of Friends receives a cut. Every time, anytime Friends is watched, the cast of Friends receives a cut.
Okay. Real quick. Oh, my bad. I was gonna say, I actually do have a question about residuals. Sorry to cut you off, but so from like you said, residuals are every time they air it, they get a cut of it. So, but you said that they're taking out residuals. Is it like they're not even gonna entertain like having residuals in their contract, or they're not even gonna negotiate having residuals in their contract? Like, what do you mean by that? By taking out residuals?
So they're not taking out residuals. They took out residuals. It's gone.
It's not a thing. Oh, so as of right now, currently, no one's really getting residuals in their contract at all.
Yes.
Wow, that's actually shocking. Okay.
Yeah. So actors and writers are paid for the one-time work, not much. They're paid for the one-time work, and that's it. They don't receive the money, no matter how successful the work is. They don't keep receiving money from the work unless they are within the executive team and they're also the creative team. But they don't receive money from that work. And that's the problem, because they're not getting paid that much at all. And you could write something like, for example, House of Dragons. You could write something, House of the Dragon, whatever. Either way, you could write something like that, and you would receive probably not that much. I mean, with writers specifically, I'm not really sure how the actors payment works. I think the actors is a one-time payment. I'm pretty sure. But for the writers, they give you a salary, and the salary is paid throughout the course of the year, and the salary is not that big. You are 9 times out of 10, you're going to receive probably like $10,000 throughout the year for that one show, no matter how successful it is.
And I wanna give my audience a preface on this. This is $10,000 in California for the most part. And $10,000 in California is like nothing. So
$10,000 anywhere, making $10,000 anywhere for anyone who anyone who might be young and doesn't understand how low $10,000 a year is. It's quite low. For example, if you are working minimum, well, depends on what state you're in.
Right.
But if you're working a $15 an hour job, and you work full time, 40 hours a week for the entire year, you would make, you can Google it, you would make about $31,000 a year. That's
give or take.
15. Yeah. That's give or take. That's a $15 hour job, and that's with taxes already subtracted. You make about 30 $31,000 a year. That's not much.
And imagine you're in the film industry writing for a show that might be successful, yet you're getting 10K a year for that.
Technically,
what?
depending on how much you're writing, in the state of California, a McDonald's employee is making either just as much as you or more.
That's insane. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's insane because they took out the residuals and they took out a bunch of other things that basically keeps the writers paid for a successful show. And that is that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So now that the contract's up, the writers are boycotting because they need to get paid. You're not gonna tell me you write something like Game of Thrones and you're not gonna receive money for it.
Oh my gosh.
You're not gonna tell me you write something like the new Lord of the Rings TV show, and you're not gonna and you're gonna be making as much money as like a McDonald's employee. Like that's ridiculous.
That's insane. Since you're a writer in Hollywood right now, right? So you had to sign. So did you had to sign off that you're gonna join the union whenever you decided to work as a writer in Hollywood? Am I mistaken on that?
No. So I am actually independent.
Okay.
I'm not part of the union.
Okay, so the union is only for like the bigger companies that really circulate throughout Hollywood. Am I correct on that?
So yeah, the union that is currently on strike right now is the WGA and SAG. WGA is the Writers Guild of America. That's the writers union, and then SAG is the actors union. And to join those unions, you need to kind of work within Hollywood for a period of time, and then you need to join the union. It's not easy to join
Right.
those unions. But yeah, so me and a bunch of other people that I work with are independent filmmakers. So technically the strike does affect us, but not in the way of making money, because our money is paid through a freelance kind of thing. We don't have the union protecting us. We do work with union actors though, so that's where the strike does affect us. So for example, if I were to use a SAG actor, which I may have used a SAG actor in my recent film, I would have to double check my info to see if any of them were union. But if I were to use a SAG actor, then that's when the strike would affect. That's when the strike would affect me. The actors are on strike right now. I would probably have to ask the union and the actor if I could release the film.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I'm independent. I'm an independent filmmaker out here in LA.
Okay, so technically, like, if you were to continue working as a writer in Hollywood, you're technically not even you're not like hurting the strike at all or anything. With they don't feel betrayed or anything because you're independent. Like this is all just for a big company.
It would not be scabbing unless I went out of my way to promote kind of Hollywood standards or didn't pay my actor. Didn't pay my actors. But no, I can definitely still still work.
Okay, that's good. Well, I'm glad you're still working, and I'm glad you're still being able to work on your craft and everything amongst all the craziness that's going on. Can you explain to me? So I read this. I read something up on how the very highly acclaimed studio A24. They are technically not part of the union. Like how does that work? Because that, to me, A24 is probably like one of the biggest in terms of studios creating some of the greatest like movies we have ever seen. How come they're like separate from the other bigger studios? If you could explain that to me. If you know anything, and
let me fact check this real quick.
Okay, cool. Because when I read this, I was actually very shocked because I'm like, aren't they like one of the biggest studios? Like, I feel like they should have been a part of the union or something. And if they're not, I don't know I don't know how that works. I don't know how any of this union stuff works, honestly. And everyone who's in film school like really praises A24 for their work. So
with A24 and their work, I have my opinions, but depending on the movie.
Wait. We'll get to that later, but go ahead.
Depending on the movie. Okay, so I was right. So I just wanted to Google it, make sure I was right before I said it. But A24 is an independent filmmaking studio. And what that means is that they work with Hollywood, but they're not necessarily Hollywood itself. So
Okay.
Hollywood would be like Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal. I think there's another one. I know. I think those are the big three for Hollywood.
The big three,
But
yeah.
yeah. So that would be Hollywood, like the major studios, like all that.
Right.
A24 is an independent filmmaking studio. I think they're based in New York.
Dang, they're independent and they make all these good movies? That's crazy.
Yeah, they're
Oh my
they're
gosh.
they're independent studio. They started off pretty small. Of course, they are what they are today through the movies they made and the money they make through the films they distribute. That's why A24 is such a it's more of an artistic expression than standard Hollywood movies.
Okay.
You won't see, so you will see kind of big stars, not big stars, but medium-sized stars in H24 movies, and you're going to see a lot of new actors because they are independent film studio and
Right.
because it's basically project to project rather than franchises.
Right. Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
H24 is basically what Warner Brothers, what Universal, what Disney started out as.
Okay.
They're an independent film studio company. Now, going back to what I said before, A24 could still work with SAG and the WGA. They would just have to talk to the union first. Like I said, I could film with actors, but I would have to talk to the union. I think it's like an interim agreement. I have to go sign and talk to the union of what I can and can't do with the actors during the strike, et cetera, et cetera. We can still work because we are independent. We're not the people they're striking against. We don't have any power over the people they're striking against. We can't do anything besides supporting them in the strike.
Okay.
But yeah, that's why the strike doesn't really affect A24. I'm pretty sure they're working with SAG and the WGA to talk about what they can and can't do on set, if they can even produce anything, because they definitely do work with SAG with SAG actors.
Yeah.
Most, if not all, of their actors in their films are SAG actors.
Right.
So it's definitely a kind of slopey area. But like I said, they're not the people SAG is boycotting against. They're the people that SAG is on strike against. So you can definitely do it as long as you talk to SAG. I'm pretty sure there's a page that SAG has where it's like what you can and can't do. You just got to talk to them, make a deal.
That makes sense, yeah. Because I think I saw somewhere that they they got permission to use Jenna Ortega in one of their works that they're filming right now, or something like that. And I'm pretty sure she's a part of the union. At least she should be. So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, going back to what she said about A24. I'm so curious, because I'm like the same guys that made Uncut Gems and Lady Bird and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, what you mean, RJ? What you talking about? Are you talking about like the? Are you saying A24 makes trash movies? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying A24 makes trash movies. I am saying that A24 is they value artistic expression, which is great. It's great. The thing about artistic expression within filmmaking, for me personally, is that I tend with independent filmmakers, artistic expression is kind of gaudy to me. This is my personal opinion. It's kind of gaudy. It's abstract, and the one type of filmmaking that I hate is experimental filmmaking. And if you don't know what experimental filmmaking is, it's abstract filmmaking. So it's basically a non-linear, non-narrative type of filmmaking, and it's basically, if you've seen what's a famous experimental film? Okay, for anime fans, have you seen Serial Experiments Lane?
Oh God, bro, that's one of the.
That would be experimental filmmaking. The end of Neon Genesis Evangelion. That's an example of
the last 5 episodes.
The last, all 3 endings that he wrote for all 3 installments, for the Rebuild films, for the end of Evangelion, the movie, and the end of the TV show. All 3 of them would be counted as experimental filmmaking. That type of storytelling where you're just like, you don't know what's going on, but you have to look deeper into it. That's experimental filmmaking.
This is coming from a guy that's in the industry, yo. This is crazy. I feel like
I hate that.
Yo, you were actually one of the first people I know that's in the industry that hates that type of stuff. Because I feel like a lot of the people that I somewhat am associated with that are in the industry love that shit, and I never understood why.
They do. They do. They absolutely do love it. And if you love it, all power to you. You know, that's your taste. I hate it. I hate it so much. I think there is a way to kind of have artistic expression without going that experimental route. For example, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a perfect example of having absolutely artistic expression and not going the experimental route. Like, yeah, the bagel is a weird concept, right? But it's not.
We understood what it represented. We understood what it represented. Yeah.
We understood what it represented because not only was it said in the movie, but it's also shown to us in a way that's easy to understand within the movie. Unlike something like the end of Neon Genesis Evangelion, where you're looking up YouTube videos of some guy trying to explain to you what the hell you just watched. Unlike what was the one I hated? Midsummer. I did not like that film.
Oof.
Midsummer.
Yeah. It came out the same. Yeah. It came out the same year as Uncut Gems. They made two movies that year.
I hated that film. I haven't seen Uncut Gems yet, but I hated that film. I absolutely, I hated it because I expected to see a cult thriller, but it was more so of them going around and looking at each other's faces and just seeing everyone being suspicious. Another film I hated, Hereditary, written by the same guy.
Oh, it is by the same guy. Yo, that's crazy.
No offense to Ad Astra. I'm just not a fan of his writing style. I'm not. It's experimental. It's too symbolic for me. And if something I don't like symbolic writing. If something is too symbolic, then it's just like you didn't even tell a story. You just put a bunch of symbols together and ask people to piece together what they wanted to perceive from this story. I hate that. I hate that so much.
That's crazy to me because for me to hear, because you love Everything Everywhere All at Once, and yet there's so much like symbolism, but it makes sense. You know what I mean?
At the same time, that's why I think symbolism for me can't stand on its own. That's the reason I don't like the end of Neon Genesis Evangelion. It can't stand on its own because at the end of the day, if symbolism stands on its own, then you don't have a story. You're just putting a bunch of symbols together and letting the audience perceive what the hell just happened. Everywhere All at Once has a bunch of symbols, of course, the bagel, the multiverse, etc. You can list a bunch of things, but it has a story. At the end of the day, it's a story about a mother and her daughter.
The butt plug. The butt plug makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it means.
At the end of the day, it's a story about a mother and her daughter, and you get that from watching the film. Even if you don't understand what the bagel is, even if you don't understand how the multiverse concept works, but in that movie, you understand that it's a daughter searching for her mother. That is what makes that movie entertaining for me for an A24 project. And A24 has a lot of films like Midsummer, like Hereditary, that is just like it's too symbolic for me. I don't. And if you like that style of writing, all power to you. No shame. They still are. It's still great production value. They put in a lot of work. Respect to the artist. I just personally don't find enjoyment from watching stuff like that. And A24 tends to make stuff like that. So
I see. Interesting.
That's kind of my problem with A24. Every time I see an A24 movie, I'm just like, And on top of that, the endings always get so weird. They get so weird. Like, they just get so. I don't know if you saw the new Netflix show Beef with Steven Yeun.
Yes. I have very mixed feelings about Beef, but yes, I have.
Throughout the story, it's basically just this drama, right? With these two people that just had enough of their current lives, right? And it's interesting, and it's just interesting to see Steven Yeun, and I think her name is Amy.
Ali Wong.
Ali Wong, yeah, there we go. It's interesting to see they killed it. They killed those roles, right? They were great, and the ending when they go on that psychedelic trip was just so weird. At the end of the show, it just turns into this cop drama. You see like bodies get crushed in doors, and you're just like, whoa, like what happened?
So I actually do understand the ending to it better. Okay, so to give more like context for you, that's supposed to, from what this is what I've heard from Koreans, that this is based off of the Korean Asian American experience, by the way. That's supposed to represent the chaotic basically the chaos that involves being Korean around other Koreans and everyone being like we will always protect each other but also tear each other down at the same time, if that makes sense. It's very much I kind of understood it when I was watching it, but I heard if you're like a Korean American, that hits you pretty hard from what I heard. I'm not Korean. By the way, stop saying like all Asians like should understand each other, because we don't. By the way, Koreans are their own thing. They understand that more. That's for them. Kind of like how Shang-Chi is for Chinese people, not for me.
Yeah.
So,
I understood it. I just didn't like the way, and from my perspective, I just didn't enjoy the way it was presented, because it took this drama that I was watching and then suddenly it became like this cop show where the cops were coming in and now they had to make sure they weren't get shot, and the lady who got killed by the door, that was just brutal, and I was like, well, that's just out of place. Like,
no, yeah, no.
That was just out of place. I was like, oh my god, there's like a brutal death in this random show about people yelling at each other. Like, it's like, oh wow, that was
it's insane. I didn't say I liked the ending. I just understood it. I personally thought it was just like all over the place, but it
felt like a different show the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. Overall, I enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
But and that's what I mean by A24's endings get weird, because you're watching this just standard drama, and then suddenly it turns into a completely different show, and you're just like, what's going on? Because they need to get the message out, and I don't know, man. I just tend not to like it.
So from what I hear, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the exception to everything.
It is the first A24 film where I can truly say I absolutely enjoyed this from top to bottom. Yes.
How many times did you watch this film? I'm curious.
Twice. I didn't understand.
Wow.
Twice.
Okay, I watched it.
I would love to watch it again though, just because there's so much in it.
Yeah, there is a lot. I actually watched it 3 times, and I actually want to get into it with you. But was there anything else you want to get into with the writer's strike and the actor's strike that you know about that you feel like I should know?
So this really doesn't affect us because we're anime content creators.
Yeah, but for all the people out there,
for the actual content creators that review films and media and stuff, they go out and literally Google SAG's. They released a whole thing, a whole Q&A kind of a page you can go Google, where it tells you how to make content during the strike. Please Google that. Please follow those rules. Please support the writers and actors. They could tell you way more information than I ever could. Go out and support. You can technically scab, which is working during a strike, and not okay.
Right.
It's legal, but it's not morally okay at all. But you can technically scab while making content online about the media that's currently being striked. So if you are planning on making a media about a video about Western film, any Western film that includes Spider-Verse, for all you anime fans out there, go look up how you would do that during the strike. It is very important that you support the writers and actors. Go look up if you can do that during the strike.
Right.
I know the animation industry. Actually, let me not speak on that. I don't know. Go look up if you can actually support. If you can talk about Western animation. I know for the anime industry, for the voice actors on the Western side, are not really affected by the strike. They came out and said they're not really affected by the strike. Because it's a different. They're still with the guild, but it's a different contract.
Yeah, they're not really unionized like that.
No, they are unionized. They are unionized.
They are.
It's a different contract. So like SAG, I can't pronounce the second name. AFTRA. I don't know how to pronounce it. But SAG, basically the Actors Guild, the Actors Union, has different contracts for live action and different contracts for voice acting, and different contract for anime voice acting. So, it's different contracts right now. Their contract is not really the thing being striked. But still, you should still support it. And if you are curious, if you are like, should I make a video on this anime? And I want to use English dub clips, still look it up if you can during the strike. If not, use the sub. Like I said, us anime content creators don't really have to worry about it because we're using media from Japan and they're not on strike right now. So
Right.
we don't have to worry about it. But if you are using any Western animation, if you have any questions about should I use this media during the strike, please don't just go and use it. Look up if you can use it and look up how to use it. I'm pretty sure SAG released disclaimers for content creators for that specific purpose. They're really trying to help you guys out. Don't just ignore the strike, especially if you are a film content creator.
Right.
Especially if you review film media. Please go look up how to make content during the strike. You can scab and it will hurt the strike.
Yeah, cardiac. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, cardiac. Definitely look it up. You can. And they also break down what sponsorships deals you can take as well. It's all up there.
Oh wow.
Like I said, I'm not really sure on the details myself, but I know where you can find the details. Go look. Literally, just Google SAG influencer strike. It's gonna be the first thing that pops up. So.
Plus, I heard you can get like blacklisted from like being invited to stuff because they would invite like content creators to like to special viewings and stuff and like kind of review their and get special privileges to review the show or the movie ahead of time, but you can get blacklisted if you if you don't follow the rules that they set out. You know what I mean? So that's yeah. So even if you don't care about the strike like that, if you're a heartless human being, but you still want to probably try to follow the rules, or else your content will not be as widespread because you're not getting invited out to stuff. So just keep that in mind.
I mean, yeah, it's it's immoral. It's completely legal, but it's immoral to the high degree. People are literally saying they can't live off making their jobs. They can't live off careers they love or don't love. Either way, if you're working a career, you should be able to live off of it. That's no matter how you feel about the job, you should be able to live off of it. That's just a human right. People are saying they can't live off it, and they're currently on strike. And the CEOs are literally saying they're just going to wait till they starve to death, and come back to the studios.
Yeah.
Like they said that.
While they make $30 million a year.
While they make $30 million a year, it's crazy. It's insane. And on top of that, they would still be as rich as they are, even if they gave the writers and actors what they're asking for. It wouldn't change their finances at all. So
it's really
it's insane to support those people while you have people literally saying we might starve if you don't pay us.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, it's like almost impossible to tell a rich person, hey, just give up a little bit, because it's like, I don't know, it's so hard for them to have the concept of like, oh, I should give up a little bit because I'm still gonna be well off, but like to them it's like, nah, that's my pockets, and I'm like, all right, bro, like I don't understand that.
Even if you don't want to look at it from a emotional standpoint or a political standpoint, do the fucking math. Do the math. If you are making $30 million a year, you're not spending $30 million a year. There's not enough for you to spend. Do the math. People really don't do the number. For the same people that think the average American living wage is $80,000. People are making $80,000 a year. That's insane.
That's crazy.
You're rich. That's rich. If you're making $80,000 a year, you're rich. Do the math, people. Before you come out here and start spouting numbers, do the math. $30 million a year is a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
If you make $80K a year, that's upper middle class bare minimum already. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's upper middle class.
Please, that's my big advice to anyone who wants to get into this debate or argument. Do the math. Like literally break down the numbers, and you will see how ridiculous it is for a CEO to make $30 million a year and their employees are getting paid $30,000 a year. Like that's ridiculous. And if they could even get the gig, like
do you get like frustrated at like the takes people make online of like, why should I support the rich actors that want to get more money, like when it clearly it's not about them? Like how do you feel about all the stupid BS that's happening online?
It's ridiculous, but like I said, people don't really do the math. I don't know if you've seen like podcasts of rich people's children getting on podcasts. Is they become content creators because they have nothing else to do. They become content creators and they get online and they start talking about how much they think people are making a year, and you're just like, wow, you're really out of touch with society.
I haven't
And
seen those, but that sounds
it's
crazy.
it's 9 times out of 10 Californians, rich Californian children who get up there online and just start talking out of their ass, basically.
I believe that.
But yeah, it is kind of frustrating because people think that, oh, you're a big time actor, you're starring in this movie, you're making a bunch of money. People think everyone has a Robert Downey Jr. deal, and they don't.
They
They
don't.
don't. They don't. Even if you are a big time actor, they don't. Like, there's a reason. Another popular one. There's a reason why Michelle Yeoh. You're seeing her in a lot of things. She
Yeah,
has to work.
she has to.
Work.
You know, bro. Like Michelle Yeoh was the original freaking Charlie's Angel, like,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
still has to work.
They have to work. There's a reason why you're seeing. Well, probably not Margot Robbie. She probably has a deal, but there's a reason why you're seeing all these actors everywhere, and you're like, oh my god, I see their faces everywhere because they have to work. Tessa Thompson has to work. Michael B.
Dude,
Jordan has to
yo,
work.
I'm telling you, there's a reason why Michael B. Jordan is in so much shit. He has to eat too. Like,
He has to eat. Yeah. They have to work, and you would think, oh, you're famous, you can make money. No, and there's also a reason why actors start their own YouTube channels and stuff like that. Now, granted, that's a completely different debate whether if you should start a YouTube channel if you're already famous, but there's a reason why you do it, because acting, you can't
yeah,
you would either have to act full time and constantly act and constantly receive gigs, or you would have to find another a source of income.
yeah. I mean, like, look at guys like what is his name again? Shoot, he worked on I'll get back to you on that. How do you? Did you see the news about the AI thing and how they're like gonna copy like the extras like and stuff like that? Did you see something about that? That was insane. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Do you not see what's wrong with that? You're gonna pay this person a one-time deal and you use their likeness for life. Like, what is that? I don't understand, bro. I really don't.
Studios are studios only see the money, and it's a sad truth. Even within the anime industry, it's a sad truth. And of course, there are other factors like racism and misogyny
Right.
that play heavily into it. I mean, any shojo fan will tell you that misogyny plays heavily into why shojo doesn't get made as often. But
It's true.
but looking on the monetary side, studio only sees the money. And that is why we keep getting these heartless remakes. That's why Disney keeps doing these remakes of their live action films, of their cartoons, because
Yeah.
they know they're gonna make money. That's why we keep getting these Fast and Furious films, because they know they're gonna make money. That's why Marvel is still going on and getting worse. Sorry, Marvel fans, it's getting worse. Because they know they're gonna make money. I don't know if that's a hot take. The MCU is getting worse. I don't know how to. You can't tell me it's not. You can't
I
tell me
agree.
it's not.
I agree with the take that the MCU is getting worse. I don't agree with the take of it's getting worse because of diversity. That's the one I don't agree with.
Yeah, of course not.
There are people that think that though. They think because they
There are
added
people
more
who think that,
diversity,
yeah.
it's getting worse. But no, it's the
not-
writing.
It's not.
It's
It's
the
not getting worse.
writing.
It's the writing. It's just the writing. Like, it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with diversity. It has nothing to do with the actors. The actors are actually getting better. I like the new gen MCU actors. They're great.
Some of them. I'll tell you this. There are two in the Asian community. There are two actors that people are like not feeling.
No, I know who you're talking about.
And I don't know if I should disclose this because you might work with them. So I'm gonna
Don't
just
work with them.
you might in the future though is the thing. So I'm like I don't want them to find this and be like, oh, he was on a podcast where he was talking shit about me. Or the guy that he was working or he was with is talking shit about me, so I don't want to work with him. I'm gonna just leave that alone for your sake.
Okay.
So,
But
yeah.
back on topic. It's these studios only see money, and that's why they keep pumping out these heartless adaptations.
Yeah.
And why we don't get everything ever all at once type of movies constantly, because they're going for the bag. They're going for the bag, and sometimes when they go for the bag, they actually do try to. The creative side tries their best. As we've seen with successful remakes. I'm not saying that all of them are heartless, soulless remakes. It depends on the project.
Depends. Yes.
But yeah, they're going for the bag. So the studios with these AIs yeah, it is a legitimate fear. They will, and they're trying. They will replace humans with AIs if it one saves them money, and if it two saves them it basically saves them money. It saves them money
Yeah.
based on how much they have to pay, and it basically saves them money on basically how much they have to deal with. They don't have to deal with strikers. They don't have to deal with unions if they have an AI. And it's a scary reality that we're seeing. AI is not that developed, but it is developed enough to the point where they're trying to use it for extras. That's insane. That's kind of crazy to think about. And they will do it if it saves them money, because all they see is money.
Yeah, it really is a travesty that greed really is the reason why, there are a lot of problems with the industry, you know what I mean? And like, I mean, money is the reason why we have a Fast and Furious 11 coming out.
Yeah.
You know, when Ludacris said like, that's an easy 2 mil right there. I'm like, damn, you get paid 2 million to make that? like I'm like, easy too. It's like simple, and it's like, dang, this is the reason. Like we're the problem, honestly. Let's be real, we're the problem. Why?
So I don't have a issue with all the kind of Hollywood big blockbuster movies. I don't think they should necessarily stop being made. I think that they should share the space.
Yeah.
But for those people who are out there having a problem with these big blockbuster Hollywood movies, great advice that I saw from some YouTuber, I don't know his name, but he basically said, stop seeing them. Stop watching them. Stop watching them, because the studio they don't care about your reviews. They don't care about what you think. They don't care if you liked the new Star Wars. They don't care if you liked the new Obi-Wan. They don't care if you liked the new Marvel movie. They don't care about your opinions on Thor, Love, and Thunder. The only thing they are seeing is how much money it made.
Exactly.
If they made their money back from what they spent on the film and then some, they will make another one. It is why we are getting a Thor 5. Because
they're making another Thor movie?
They're making another Thor movie. The cliffhanger of the fourth one ended. We're getting another Thor movie.
No, but I thought, you know what? Never mind. I'll leave that alone.
It's why we're getting a Thor 5. It's why after the Guardians 3, Star-Lord is still going to be in the MCU. It's why nothing is ending. Nothing is creatively ending, and it's all going to continue because it's making money. So I don't have a problem with it, other than they need to share the space with other works.
Yeah.
But if you have a problem with it, stop watching it. You guys complain about every single Marvel movie that comes out, yet you go see it. Like, stop.
Bro, at this point, I'm like, should I just like, well, do the studios make money whenever they put it on streaming sites? Like after they show it in theater, do they make like a good amount of money when they stream
Almost
it?
definitely, yes.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yes.
Right. Oh, okay. Because I was thinking like,
as for the creative side, do the actors and writers make the money after streaming? No.
Wow. Yeah.
No.
That sucks.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But the studio, the executives, the CEOs, yeah.
I will not disclose this person, but I do know someone who despises, Marvel movies keep like putting out crappy writing, that he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna pirate every time at this point to make sure that they don't make money. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but he is technically not supporting the crappy writing by pirating it.
If that's what you have to do, I'm not going to tell anyone to do that. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you got to do. Stop giving them money. Like, if that's because that's how they'll see that it's not
Basically
making money. If it stops making money, then that's when you'll see a change.
Yeah.
Because they don't care about your Twitter likes. They don't care if you got 1 million likes on Twitter talking about how you hated the new Marvel movie. They don't care. They don't care. I'm telling you right that they really don't care about your reviews. They don't care about how it's soulless. They don't care about that. Some director might care and try his best, but at the same time, He's hauled back by a studio. So he comes to the studio with this idea. If the studio doesn't trust him, if he's not James Gunn, basically, which even James Gunn, Marvel didn't trust him. So, like,
That's a whole other story.
like even then, if like the studios will hold these creators back because they want to play it safe. Look at the new Star Wars trilogy. Like, they had the chance to write a whole new story, and they decided to just rewrite the same thing.
I heard the story. I heard the horror stories on the new Star Wars trilogy about how like they wrote like a completely different movie than what was supposed to come out because Disney like basically came in and was like, no, write it this way, to like for some reason. I've heard the horror stories. It's crazy when I had found out. I was like, wow.
Yeah, the amount they're rewriting. I mean, we're hearing all the kind of drama that's coming out with Spider-Verse, the production of Spider-Verse.
Yeah, that was insane.
This shit is real. Like, it's everyone's wondering, is the next one going to be delayed, because now they're talking about, you know, how they haven't even filmed the voice lines. Like, they're discussing the writing room, even the second one, the writing room for the second one, how many drafts they had to do, even near production end. Like, it's insane, and this shit is real. Studios do not care about creativity. They want the money. They want the money. Like,
for you anime fans, Zom 100's real. Like, I don't know what to tell you. The first episode,
yeah,
Zom 100's real, bro. That's real life. Like,
it's real. These studios do not care. They want the money, and they will overwork and they will underpay because they are trying to make. They're trying to get rich off of it. It's just how it is. That's the problem. That's why they're currently on strike.
Anyways, this wasn't a part of the plan, but I think we got a good look at the what's going on with Hollywood and what's, you know. I'm glad I got this insight from you, but real quick, I did not tell you we were gonna do this, and I didn't know I wanted to do this, but I want to talk about everything all at once really quick because it's very rare for me to find someone that loves it as much as I do. It's like in my top 3 like favorite movies of all time.
Can't blame me.
Dude, like, okay, as someone who is not Asian American by any means, how did you interpret the story of this movie, like, overall? Like, I want to know what you interpreted about what the lessons you were supposed to learn from this movie and what the movie's trying to tell you. Very curious.
For me, it's about the struggles of family, in a sense. So there's 2 core things in the movie. Like I said earlier, the movie at its core is basically a mother-daughter movie.
Oh, by the way, spoilers. By the way, just go watch the movie before you get into this, because it came out last year. It won Best Cinema.
Picture. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch the movie. What are you doing with your life? It's the one time I kind of agreed with the Oscars. I was like, this is Best Picture of the year.
This is. I
don't understand how you can watch any movie this year and not think Everywhere All at Once was not Best Picture. Right. It was Best Picture. Absolutely deserved. But at its core, for me, it was a mother-daughter movie. And there are 2 lines that resonated with me from that movie.
Okay.
Of course, the famous line where, excuse me, I don't remember the characters' names. The husband, where they were in the alternate universe. Wayman. Yeah, when he was in there, and his famous line of, "I would love to just do laundry with you for the rest of my life," something on that lines. That just, watching that in theaters, that just hit. It was like, oh my god, like that line changed lives that day. Like,
oh man.
That line changed lives. Like, they don't really know the things they did to the audience with that line.
Can we also really quick? I want to say, shout out Ki Hui Kwan for freaking coming back to Hollywood and putting on a banger performance. Truly deserved to be the best supporting actor of 2022. Truly like
in every sense.
Yeah, man. Shout out Ki Hui Kwan for real. Continue.
That line, and then the second line, which I think is the kind of the core theme of the movie, because the husband and the wife's relationship was a B plot. It was an incredible B plot, but it was a B plot. The main plot was the wife and the daughter's relationship.
Yeah.
And the line that gets me is that at near the end of the movie where she was like, "You could literally be anywhere you want in the multiverse, and you still came looking for me." And that's the theme of the movie, where the daughter literally had the power to be anywhere she wanted in the entire multiverse, not just universe, multiverse. She could be anywhere, and she used all that power to come looking for her mom. Like,
Yeah.
that hits. That's storytelling right there. Like, and they told that story through one of the best examples of the multiverse in cinema history, basically.
Oh, better than Marvel. Better than Marvel.
better than specifically better than the MCU, because I think Spider-Verse was a good example of a multiverse.
Oh yeah, it's
I don't think
between
as
those
good
two,
as everything ever all at once, but it was still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, I think for me, being a non-Asian American and watching that movie, it was more so of course I can't relate to the Asian American struggle, you know.
Of course.
I'm not Asian American. I have,
Right.
you know, everyone has their own struggles, but at the same time, I understood that it was more so of the pressure of being in a family like that, and how even through all that pressure, even through all that struggle, even through all the expectations, even through all the bills, even through all the arguments, through all the fighting, that this family still cared about each other. And it was the theme of, hey, we do love each other, even though times are extremely hard, even though we might get a divorce, even though, you know, we always argue all the time, Mom. It's like they still love each other, and it's told in this way where you go through this multiverse journey, and at the end of it all, they still come back to each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the core of the movie. That one line where it's like, you could be anywhere in the world, and you went to go find your mom. Like, that hit.
That does hit.
Like,
Man.
that hit, and that emotional through line throughout the movie of when she says that, and you just look back at what you just watched and you realize, damn, she has a point. Is like, that's how you know you just experienced an incredible story. Like,
Bro, that's crazy.
That hit.
It hits. Real quick. So, before I get into my interpretation as an Asian American, about this movie, and I hope to educate you a little bit about how much this movie means to me personally. But when I first watched this movie, it was with my wife in theaters, and whenever the scene came up of the two rocks coming together and like talking to each other through stuff, like they can't talk, the rocks, right? So they have the text and stuff, and their conversation. I remember it was like, you know, even though I can't remember the line specifically, but it's like, you know, we're now in a universe full of rocks, and yet I will never stop. Oh, it was on the lines of like, I will never stop looking for you, even though we're rocks, something like that, right? And then so there's a tear rolling through my face, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. Like, you're rocks, but you still love each other, still want to chase after each other as like mom and daughter or whatever. My wife looks at me, is like, are you fucking crying over rocks? And I'm like, okay, way to ruin the moment. All right, fuck it, fuck me, I guess. What did you think of that scene, yo?
I absolutely loved it, because I've said this before on my channel, and I'll say it again. I'll constantly keep saying it.
Your channel.
The one thing I love about anime specifically is that anime has this unique ability, and you can see it within other stories that are not anime. For example, like Everything Ever All at Once.
Yeah.
Anime has this unique ability to take concepts that are naturally weird, that people would stereotypically consider weird, wacky, and out of this world, like a Kill la Kill. Weird and like a Gurren Lagann, right?
JoJo's. Like a JoJo's.
JoJo's is a prime example, yeah. They have this concept to take this really weird and wacky type of concept and turn it into something meaningful and impactful. Something that you're sitting here and you feel about, and you don't get it until you watch the show. you don't cry over rocks until you watch everything all at once. You don't cry over nudist versus clothing until you watch Kill la Kill. You don't cry about a drill that's piercing the heavens and fighting giant robots in space checking galaxies until you watch Gurren Lagann. Like
Oh my
you
gosh.
just don't get it until you watch it. And you're sitting here and you're like, I am crying over a rock. I am crying over a drill that's piercing the heavens. I am crying over these bunch of nudists fighting a bunch of clothing. Like that's a power that anime specifically has that I think Everywhere All at Once captured, and that's kind of why I like the movie, because for me that's my favorite form of storytelling, is taking those weird and wacky concepts, and that's why I love anime, because anime constantly does that. Like you explain an anime to someone like out of context, and they're just like, "What the hell are you watching?" Right? And then you explain, and then you go and watch, and you're like, you understand why they feel so passionate about that, and that's kind of why I liked that's exactly why I liked Everywhere All at Once, because it was just like it captured that feeling of taking these weird concepts and making them impactful. People are sitting here crying over a bagel. The bagel is the center of the universe.
The bagel is crazy, yo.
A bagel is the center of the universe in that world. Like that's canon. That's a canon event.
That is a canon event for sure. The rocks being emotional towards each other, that's also a canon event, by the way.
Yeah. There's literally a scene where Michelle Yeoh picks up the chef dude and they chase after his rat.
Oh my gosh! Freaking raccoon, bro.
The hot dog fingers, like these are when you describe them out of context, people are like, "What is going on in this movie?" But you watch the film, and suddenly these weird concepts become so meaningful to you, and that type of storytelling is what I absolutely love.
Yeah, Tiffany. That freaking rock scene does matter, all right? Dang. Freaking making fun of me the whole day after that. Anyways though, so as an Asian American watching this film, all right, first of all, I saw a lot of pushback on this movie from a lot of people that just didn't get it. And I will say most of the people that I saw that thought like this film is just too weird or like they just didn't get it were people usually, and I'm not saying all of you think this, a lot of black and white Americans who have lived here for generations is what I've noticed that don't understand. Because this movie to me is the only good interpretation of what an Asian American family looks like. Parasite was a good movie, but it deals with Koreans in Korea and their caste system. Shang-Chi, that Marvel movie is freaking mostly like in China. So I'm just being honest. So Everything Everywhere All at Once. Basically, it explains the dynamic very well of what an Asian American family looks like. The chaos of like just trying to do everything at once, being able to pay your taxes, do your job, cooking a meal, and making sure your child gets home safe, like all the chaos in her, like that, everything that happened in Michelle Yeoh's mind is like everything an Asian parent who's an immigrant like experiences being in this country, just chaos, like, and their brain is all literally like all over the place, the way they speak to each other is very much so what it's like being an Asian American family, where you usually talk, if you learn your native tongue, you talk in both like an English version of your native tongue, where you speak the actual like native tongue, and then you like kind of reply back in that native tongue in English at the same time. Like you switch back and forth a lot, and that happens a lot in my household, and my wife's household as well, and all like my friends and everything. That happens all the time. That was a very subtle touch they didn't have to do in the movie, but if you're Asian American, you understood that perfectly, and it's something we barely see. It's usually all English, all the native tongue. It's never like what actually is like in a household. Another thing is the way the mother and daughter talk to each other is very much so very much what the relationship is with your parents when you're that age of like when you're a teenager all the way up till you're a young adult. You speak to your parents without emotion. You try not to share too much with them because you know what their reaction is gonna be. And it's like, I remember when Michelle Yeoh's character Evelyn was like, just tell me what's going on. And Joy, which is Stephanie Sue's character, says like, oh no, everything's fine. When you know everything's not fine. Because if Joy was to say what's actually on her mind, she will get a lecture, and she will either get lectured, yelled at, or be called ungrateful. That's just what it's gonna be. When you're in a household with immigrants who took you to this country to make a better life for you, you have no feelings and you have no problems. Your problems don't mean shit because you didn't have to immigrate to a new country and start your life over. You didn't do that, so your life is easy. When it's not. You know, everyone goes through their own stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so for a long time, like between me and my mom, I didn't tell her what my problems were, really, because I already knew it's gonna be, you have it easy though. that's all they're gonna say. You have it easy though. To the point where and even if she does know something is like different and she's trying to be as understanding as possible, she wants you to look perfect for her grandparents. Like Gong Gong, which is the grandfather, she's like, just put on like a fake persona so that he thinks everything is the way that he thinks it is. And that's exactly what it is. My grandparents to this day still don't know I dropped out of school. So it's like that's kind of crazy that like they still don't know, because my parents want to have that perfect of like, oh yeah, no, they graduated and they're having a good life. Like, I have a good life, but I didn't graduate. So it's like yeah, they still don't know. So I completely understand that. As well as the movie went on, you know, you realize like Michelle Yeoh's character Evelyn wants to do better for her daughter. She kept searching for her daughter as her daughter kept searching for her, type shit. You know, it's kind of like that cat and mouse situation. You know what I mean? And towards the end of the movie, when Evelyn was like grabbed her daughter in the middle of the party and was like, "This is my daughter. She's lesbian. She's gay, and I love her for it." Do you know why Stephanie Sue's character Joy still was upset at her mom after she declared that I love her for her? Why do you think that? I'm very curious.
I feel like, from my perspective, it was more so of not the issue at hand. It was not more so of that you love me for me. It's more so of understanding that I too have struggled. Like you said, it's like you said, if she were to say her problem, it would be one of three things, right? You're ungrateful, you have it easy, et cetera, et cetera. I think it was more so the daughter really wanted her mom to understand that she also has struggles, and it's sort of the same feeling you get from people when you're talking about minority struggles in America, and they're just like, well, I'm an ally. And you're like, thank you, but you're not helping.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, but that doesn't help the problem. Like,
right.
And
you're not doing anything to help. Yeah.
That's what I perceived from it. It wasn't. I know that you don't hate me. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
I know that you love me regardless. That's not the issue. But you still don't understand where I'm coming from. I want you to understand. Like, that's the understanding is the part. That's what I got from it.
Okay, so you're like half right. You pretty much got a lot of it right, actually. Where yes, like she knows that her mom loves her regardless, but she still technically never talked to her about it, and she never tried to understand it. That's part of it. The other part of it is Evelyn made it about her instead of Joy when she made that declaration, because she was doing it to save face in front of people towards her daughter, type, if you understand what you mean. Like she's basically trying to make herself look good and trying to make it about her when it's not about her. You know what I mean?
It's that self-righteousness.
Yeah, exactly. Like she really that was for her, not for her daughter. So what Joy was trying to say is like, just be a normal parent. and ask me how my day is and ask me how things work as a lesbian instead of, you know, acting like acting like some things aren't going on type shit, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it took me, it took me 25 years for my mom to talk to me like a human being. Like my mom talked down on me like I'm a child till I was 25. And then it was when I turned 25 when she's finally like, all right, let's just talk like normal people. Like it takes that long for fucking Asian Americans who are born here and they have immigrant parents to finally like talk to. There are some people to this day I know they're in their 30s and they still don't talk to their parents like normal human beings, and it's like it's so sad. And so yeah, this movie to me, like, despite the weirdness, and honestly the weirdness is all I interpreted that as like this is the true joy. This is true joy, what she wanted to be, but she couldn't because of her upbringing and her parents don't want to see that. Just this whole movie is like, to me, I interpreted it as like it's the whole Asian American experience of like you want to be you, but you also want to, you know, be the people or be the children that your parents want you to be. You know, it's that struggle in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, I could talk all day about this movie because this movie's insane. Like,
It's quite literally a masterpiece.
It's close to a perfect movie as you can.
It's quite literally a masterpiece. It was an incredible film. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know that Stephanie Sue was not supposed to be Joy Wang in this movie?
I did not. No.
Yeah,
Actually, wait. I think I heard about this.
You won't believe who was originally supposed to be Joy.
It was Aquafina, wasn't it?
Can you imagine Joy with that ashy ass voice?
Yeah. I actually knew that. Yeah, it was Aquafina. Yeah.
Oh, it would not have worked, yo.
It would have not worked. No. It would have been completely awful.
You could be a well-known actor or actress that actually is good at their craft, but still be terrible for the role.
I think, yeah. Especially with well-known actors and actresses, I think it depends on the role, because not everyone, especially with the image you have, not everyone can take on a role. That role was not Aquafina's. Like, it was not. It was not.
You know Wayman, the husband? There's a rumor in Asian internet. Do you know who people assumed like was originally supposed to be Wayman?
Who?
People thought it was supposed to be Jackie Chan, yo.
No.
I'm like, first of all, Michelle Yeoh and Jackie Chan hate each other.
Yeah, no.
Second of all, Ki-hee Kwan did such a good job as like the little like the docile submissive husband that just went with whatever the wife said type shit, you know what I mean?
He did an amazing job in that. They all did. All three of them. They killed that. They absolutely killed that role. They killed all their roles, and I could not see it. I could not see it any better. It was perfect casting. I like even the production of that film. Perfect casting, perfect cinematography, incredible editing.
Oh my gosh.
Can't imagine. Like the editor released the timeline, the footage of the premiere timeline, and I was like, dear Lord, I have never seen something that gave me a heart attack. Like, just the sheer like anxiety rush I saw when I saw that premiere time. I was like, oh my God. But it makes sense because you see the film and you're just like, yeah, this was your life for the last 5 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. And you know what? And people who have never seen this movie are about to watch this movie and be like, why the fuck are there butt plugs and dildos? Like, what? You know what? That was you know what? I watched it 3 times. I still don't know what the purpose was. I'm not gonna lie. It was just
the butt plugs and dildos.
Yeah, like it was shock factor. I'll give you that. Hey,
it's just fun. They're having fun with it.
They
once you have that like weird and wacky story and you make it impactful, you just add stuff and you just add stuff that's fun. It's just fun. It's fun. You know.
Oh man. Anything else you want to bring up about everything everywhere all at once that you haven't said on the internet? I'm just curious what you think of it, or if you have any other opinions.
So yeah, I actually don't get a lot of time to talk about unless it's like on Twitter.
Yeah.
Even then, I don't get a lot of time to talk about other media outside of anime.
Right.
Um, watch it. Like that's my thing. If you have not seen this film, watch it. Do not listen to any of the critics, especially the haters. They're wrong. I everything's subjective, but no, they're wrong.
They're wrong.
They're so wrong. This film is amazing. It definitely deserved the Oscar sweep it got. 100%. Go watch it. It's an incredible movie. It's an absolutely incredible movie.
Like people want to say Crazy Rich Asians is the thing that's gonna make Asians popular. Nah, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once, bro. Like, let's be honest. Like, let's stop lying to ourselves. And also, like, to anyone that like thinks it's too weird and they don't understand, you're just not smart enough. I don't know what else to tell you. You're not one of the smart ones. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Go watch it. That's all I was saying.
Go watch it. Go watch it for sure. All right, now we can actually get into the anime part of this.
We're gonna talk about anime now, huh?
now we're actually gonna talk about anime for sure. Okay, so, anime is widely known as like Japanese animation media, type shit. But a lot of things are coming out of like it's not as defined as it used to be. Like, of course, there are a lot of anime that are now being produced outside of Japan, as well as they're being produced by studios that aren't even anime studios. You know what I mean? So, how I originally defined anime was it had to be made by an anime studio. But then I realized, like, I looked up Link Click, which is a Chinese anime. It's on Crunchyroll. And I realized Link Click isn't even made by an anime studio. It's made by a Chinese like media studio that does a bunch of stuff. I'm forgetting the name. It's like Bleely, something like that. Billy
Billy B.
Something like that.
That's
but yeah,
how I say it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but that's how I say it.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right either, but yeah, it's not Japanese. It's not done by an animation studio, so it's like, but it's running on Crunchyroll, so it has to be an anime, right? So it's like, how do you define what an anime is? Like, really?
So, I am writing a video about this, but spoilers for the video. I'll just say it here because I'm not that type of guy to just be like, go watch the video. So technically, anime, by definition, by the slang word, the definition, because anime is short for animation. But the slang of anime, the way we use anime in common modern English, especially on the Western side, the slang definition is animation from Japan. So if it's not animation from Japan, it's not anime.
Right.
But that's the short version of it. The short version is no, they're not anime technically, but they do resonate with the anime culture. So if someone were to call them anime, I don't think anyone should be like, no, they're not. I don't think we should fight against it. Is what I'm saying. We should know that technically, yeah, they're not anime, but we don't need the well, actually, people to be like, no, shut up, like, because it's made for the same type of fandom. It's made for the same type of fandom, and you're not gonna tell me that you're an anime fan and you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and you didn't enjoy it. Like, you're not gonna tell me you're an anime fan and you watch Link Click and you didn't enjoy it. And not that you didn't enjoy it like on a subjective, I like the show, I don't like the show, but you didn't enjoy it because it wasn't anime. Like, no, you still see it as anime, even though technically it's not. A big thing with the new Superman cartoon that just aired a couple of weeks ago. It has a very anime aesthetic. A bunch of anime fans are enjoying it because at the end of the day, what we enjoy is not what is technically anime. What we enjoy is the anime aesthetic, the style, the way of drawing those characters, the way of telling these stories. That is what makes anime for us. On a technical aspect, that's not what makes anime. But on an enjoyment aspect, on a cultural aspect, on a fandom aspect, that is what makes anime. So are these shows anime? Technically, no. Should we consider them anime? Yeah, why the fuck not? Why the fuck
Interesting.
not? We're enjoying them all the same as anything that comes from Japan. Like, why the fuck not? They're honorary anime, and they should be called and if they're called anime, I don't think anyone should get mad about it. I don't think anyone should correct it. I don't think it's not the same as the demographics argument where it matters that we correct it and use the right terminology. I don't think it matters. I think yeah, we should call Link Click an anime. It's a Chinese anime. If you say that, everyone's like, yeah, that's what it is. Avatar: Last Airbender is an American anime. Like, that's what it is. Like, so at the end of the day, are they anime? No. Should they be called anime? That's up to you. I'm not gonna be mad at it. Like,
Me personally, it's really hard for me to like really be like, okay, what's really an anime, what's not. You know what I mean? Like, like, with the Avatar: Last Airbender thing, it's like a that's been an argument since the beginning of anime YouTube. Is Avatar really an anime? You know what I mean? And for the longest time, I always said no. Avatar is not an anime because it was American made. It was made by Americans in an American studio. But, you know, those lines are being blurred even more. And to be honest with you, I don't understand why I had so much pushback on it. I think it was because it was aired on Nickelodeon, you know, and you know how Nickelodeon is. They're just all over the place, you know,
yeah.
and everything. And Avatar just was different than any cartoon out during its time. You know what I mean? Because you know Nickelodeon was known for their SpongeBob's, their Fairly Odd Parents, their Danny Phantoms, and all that. But now you got this cartoon called Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is not, you know, episodic. It actually has a linear story that you need to follow. If you miss an episode, you're gonna miss an important part of the story, which is very anime-esque. You know what I mean? Very anime, where you have to actually follow the story. And even the way they animate it is very anime inspired.
Yeah.
But is it anime? That's a tough one. You know? I mean, I think Avatar is a different case than like Link Click, where if someone were to tell me Link Click is an anime, I could easily go on Crunchyroll, see it's on Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll's an anime company, an anime streaming site, and I could be like, okay, I can see it as an anime. You know what I mean? Ruby is on Crunchyroll, and is that an anime? I guess so. It's on Crunchyroll, even though it was originally made by like American Rooster Teeth, you know. But hey, it's on Crunchyroll. It's when you get into the Avatar and Legend of Korra era where I'm like, I don't know, is it? Like, it's really hard to interpret, you know what I mean? And technically, Legend of Korra was some of its animation keys were done by Toei.
Yeah.
So it's like, is it an anime now? Since some of it's done by Toei, we don't like. I don't know. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but like, when it comes to Avatar, that series, it's very hard for me to consider an anime.
It's like I said, on a technical aspect, all of these are technically not anime because anime has, for the slang definition, it is media produced from Japan. That's literally it. It's the reason why things that we don't really consider anime are actually anime. So for example, like what's a show from Japan that people don't really consider anime?
What?
There's Shin-chan is one.
The kid.
Yeah, the Shin-chan. Kimba the White Lion.
Oh,
anime.
Yeah.
That's anime. It's from Japan. Astro Boy, anime. One of the OG animes
from Japan.
Actually, but a lot of people consider anime because they don't know Astro Boy is an anime. For the longest time, people didn't realize Pokemon was an anime.
The longest time.
Pokemon is an anime. Then these are These are anime. Doraemon, if you know what Doraemon is.
Yeah.
It's the blue. It's the blue. It's the blue.
The blue
Whatever that
little
thing is.
what is it? Actually, I don't even. Is that a rabbit? I don't know.
I don't fucking know what Doraemon is. Dog? I don't fucking know.
I don't, it's an animal.
But either way, Doraemon is an anime, and these are episodic animes told within the same story format as like a SpongeBob, but they're anime. They're anime, and on top of that, even if you ask like a Japanese person who's 25, like me, their first anime was probably something like a Doraemon, like because that's what they grew up on. It's like a SpongeBob for them, right?
Right.
That's anime, and within Japan, they don't use the slang term anime like we do. Anime is any form of animation.
Yeah, I remember it really like it blew my mind when someone interviewed this Japanese guy in Japan, and he was like, "What's your favorite anime currently?" And he's like, "Oh, Despicable Me." I'm like, "Holy what?
Yeah,
Despicable Me." What?
So when you say and that's just a language barrier in general. So there is the what we as the Western anime community are trying to define as anime is the slang term we created for the specific slot of shows. That's what we're trying to define, not the actual term, because the actual term is just animation in general. But what we were trying to find is the slang word. So when you're trying to find that slang word, it is kind of hard because with slang, it's sort of kind of not official of what the slang word means. It's not like you're not going to find it within the dictionary. You're going to find it within the Urban Dictionary, right? Which is not really official. It's more so communal of what the community kind of it comes together and says, this is what this word means, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to define it. But the slang term technically means it's from Japan. So technically, no, they're not anime. But I don't see a problem with considering them anime, like an honorary anime status. If someone were to say, if I recently did ask somebody, I was like, hey, what is your favorite anime? And they said Ruby.
Oh,
I'm not mad about it because Ruby is very anime inspired. I'm not the only reason I'd be mad about it if I didn't like Ruby, and I do have my problems with the Ruby TV show.
Yo, no, Ruby has problems. Like, let's be honest. Ruby has problems.
I'm a Ruby fan, but it has problems, guys. Let's be honest here. But I wouldn't. My reply wouldn't be, "Well, that's not anime. Pick another one." That wouldn't be my reply. Or if someone said, "What's your favorite anime?" and if I asked someone, "What's your favorite anime?" and they said, "Avatar: Last Airbender." My reply wouldn't be, "Well, that's not anime. Pick another one." I understand where they're coming from because culturally and fandom wise, you're not gonna tell me you're not gonna watch. You're not gonna see Avatar: Last Airbender as an anime fan and be like, "What's that? I want to watch that." like you're gonna see it and you're gonna be like, "I want to watch it" because it has that aesthetic. It has that aesthetic. Same thing with something like the Boondocks, right?
Boondocks looks hella anime.
Very anime inspired, right? It's clearly anime inspired. It's so anime inspired. You can literally take the designs from the Boondocks and put them right next to the designs from Samurai Champloo, and you think they're from the same show. Like
you would think so.
You would think they're from the same show by the way they're drawn because it's heavily inspired, specifically by Watanabe's art and Champloo. Like
it's a direct inspiration.
It's a direct inspiration.
Oh wow.
It's a direct inspiration. Okay. Yeah. To the point where they did Boondocks has many anime references, like the first time Orochimaru and Sasuke fought. You can put the sequence right next to a Boondocks fight, and it's the same fight. I'm pretty sure you can find the GIF out there somewhere.
I think I have seen that clip.
Yeah, actually, it's a direct inspiration. Now, is Boondocks anime? Technically, no. Technically, no. It's not anime. But if someone were to say my favorite anime is the Boondocks, would I be mad at it? Nah, I wouldn't be mad at it.
So RJ, do you think shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra and all of them, even the Boondocks, do you think they're like good basically advertisement for like actual anime for fans to come in?
No.
No.
The Boondocks? No.
There's not enough racism.
The Boondocks is too much of a social. The Boondocks is too much of a social commentary. Um, and that's funny because a lot of anime is social commentary, but the Boondocks doesn't really give you that anime aesthetic story. Like if you watch the Boondocks and someone tells you watch anime, you're gonna like anime. You watch anime, it's gonna be a completely different feel. I feel like you should definitely watch anime before and then watch the Boondocks, because other than the drawing style, they're not the same. But as for Avatar: The Last Airbender, though, um, I think yeah, it could be a nice introduction. I wouldn't start off someone with Avatar: Last Airbender though, but I think yeah, it could be a nice introduction where they'd be like, oh, if you like Avatar: Last Airbender or Legend of Korra, you most likely will like anime. I think the difference with kind of Avatar and anime itself is more so of pacing.
Oh,
Avatar kind of gets to the story, which is a good thing for Avatar, but anime is much more slower paced. The Japanese really love their aesthetic.
oh yeah.
So with anime, you're gonna see maybe the butterfly shots or the flower shots or the scenery shots before the show actually starts. The anime character opening up their eyes slowly and it's animated well. The famous Mushoku Tensei bread where
Oh,
that
the
bread was
bread.
that bread was animated on every single frame possible. Like you're
Oh
gonna
my
you,
gosh.
you're gonna see the beauty shots within the anime, right? An anime starts off, typical anime 101 starts off with, you see those shots, you see that river, the Japanese river, the bridge they cross to get to school, and the girl runs out of her house with bread in her mouth. And as she's running through the city, you're gonna see all the animated pretty shots of the city, right?
Yeah.
That's how anime starts out, right? You're not gonna see that in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like,
No,
you just,
no
you're
way.
just not. Like,
There are no
that's not.
there are no cherry blossoms in
There are no cherry
Avatar.
blossoms. Yeah, you're not gonna see that. You're not gonna see the pretty shots. The show's just gonna start. Sokka, Aang, and Guitar are gonna be talking, and the show's just gonna start. Right? They're gonna give you the intro of then the Fire Nation attacked, and they're gonna get right into it. Right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think with that is gonna kind of be like a culture like a culture shock for like anyone who starts with Avatar: Last Airbender and they get into anime via that. I feel like that's gonna be like a cultural hurdle they're gonna have to like kind of overcome of getting used to that. And I think when they kind of like if they were to start with Avatar: Last Airbender and then get into like other anime from Japan, then they would kind of see why this is a debate in the first place. Like they would
Okay.
see they would see the difference. But is Avatar a good starting point? I personally don't think so. I wouldn't be mad if someone
Really?
did start with it,
Oh, okay.
but I think it's a good way to introduce somebody to specific anime elements, like with animation styles. They get used to kind of the blushing or the weird or the screaming faces and the randomly going into chibi version at comedic
Oh
moments.
yeah, they did.
Avatar does have that, those anime tropes where the animation style changes and suddenly they're small little chibi versions of themselves, screaming at each other for the comedic effect, right?
Right, 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 right.
Avatar does have that, so I think that it's kind of getting used to those tropes, but I don't really think it would be a good starting point,
I
to be
see.
honest.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. On a different note, do you actually like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra? Like, separate the two, but you know what I mean.
I think Avatar: Last Airbender is a damn near masterpiece.
In terms of like cartoons, or like in terms of what?
Fiction,
In
in
fiction in
fiction,
general. Oh wow. Okay.
fiction in general. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of those shows I would put up there with. I'll have to see how Attack on Titan ends. No manga spoilers, but I would put up there with Attack on Titan. I would put there with FMA. I would put up there with
Wow.
things that I just think are just so well written that it's just like if you enjoy personally, it's all subjective, of course, but if you enjoy media in general, these are shows that you will just enjoy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Avatar is one of those shows. The Last Airbender is one of those shows that is hyped up that I think deserves the hype. Same with Attack on Titan. Same with an FMA that
Okay.
truly just deserves the hype. Um, there are a lot of shows out there that are hyped up to the extreme. I can name a few to call out some fans, but no. But and they don't deserve the hype based on some people watching them have really different perspectives. But I think any type of fan watches Avatar: Last Airbender, and it's just like I understand why this is loved so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a good story. Such a good story told from start to finish. Legend of Korra, on the other hand.
Yeah, what do you think about it? Because there's so many different takes on Legend of Korra. Some people think it's actually like a masterpiece. Some people actually think it's like garbage. And there's a lot of in between takes in there. I'm very curious where you're gonna go.
I don't think it's garbage, but I do think that Legend of Korra is a prime example of when the writers tell you they do not want to continue the story, to not force them to continue the story. So yeah, season one was cool. It was a cool concept, but it wasn't everlasting. They couldn't like the concept wasn't there was no way they could extend that to all 4 seasons as they wanted to because they wanted to copy the Avatar formula. So they wanted 4 seasons, right?
Right.
Um, well, I guess 3 seasons.
Yeah,
For
three, three,
Avatar.
three, three. Yeah.
3 seasons for Avatar. Felt like 4 because season 2 was just so long.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the Korra has 4 seasons. Avatar has 3. The next 3 seasons of Korra were interesting concept wise, but they failed to hit the mark that Avatar hit, and it was because each season was its own kind of contained story,
A little bit.
and they
Yeah.
tried to play off the previous ones, and it just didn't work. Korra as a character was very interesting, but also very annoying. And I hate to say that, but because I really wanted to like Korra. But she is by far the worst avatar we have ever had. She just takes so much L's. Like they just keep giving her L's. Like she would go someplace
Yeah.
and just get beat. And I was like, she should be so much better than this. Like she should be so
Right.
much better than this. And she kept taking L's after L's after L's. I will give it this. The psychological writing of the show and the thematic elements that they would have with the villains. They nailed the villains. All the villains were really interesting. I
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed all the antagonists of the Legend of Korra. They were all very interesting. They were all none of them were one layered note villains. Um, but just the way they wrote the characters and the way they wrote the story within that show was just like it was not only missing something, it was also okay. You guys are just doing stuff at this point because the big kaiju fight at the end of season 2,
Oh my gosh, that one was weird. I'm not gonna
come on,
lie.
like that was weird. Um, season 3, the airbender dude, Zaire, I think his name was. He was cool, but
Yeah,
he
that
was
one
just
was cool.
way too good at airbending for someone who got it like 3 days ago. Like
I
he,
mean, they tried to explain it to be like he's been studying for decades, and it's like, but there's
he was
only I don't
he
know.
was literally sitting there scrapping with airbenders who's been airbending their entire lives, and like basically taking on the avatar like it was nothing, like and then at the end traumatized her, and then for the next 2 seasons, are there 3 seasons, are there 4 seasons of Korra, are there 3, I don't know,
There's
either way.
four. There's four in Korra, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I and for the next, like, yeah, okay, so he was season 3, and then for season 4, she
it
was
was
she was she was
yeah.
traumatized by the metal that was in her body, and it was like it was if the nostalgia wasn't there, I don't think Legend of Korra would have had the fame it would have. Like if Legend of Korra was the first installment to this show, I don't think it would have been as popular as it was. And I think the writing kind of fell flat at a moment, and there were just so many things with Legend of Korra that was just like, you guys are just doing stuff at this point.
They're just doing things, man.
They're just doing things. There's no through line story, and then Korra. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Legend of Korra. And then Korra just frees the spirit world. The first Avatar Wong, his story was cool. I liked his story. His story was cool.
Yeah.
The addition of Rava, the spirit that made the Avatar, interesting but
Weird, but cool.
weird because it was just like it's very clear that you guys made this up specifically for Korra. Because in fact, we went through the whole journey with Aang, and then Rava was not mentioned not once. Like Aang
Right.
even went to the spirit world, and Rava wasn't there. He didn't meet Rava. It was very clear that you made this up specifically for the Legend of Korra. Um, which was very weird. But the story was cool. Korra as a character just keep taking L's and keep losing. When I was just like, girl, Like she didn't really do anything to the like last episode where it was just like she didn't do anything. Well, she did stuff, but she didn't succeed until like
Right. She just didn't win.
until the last episode. So it was like it was just the writing kind of fell flat for Legend of Korra, if you ask me, in many different ways. But it was still a fun watch, and it wasn't. I wouldn't call it garbage. It wasn't garbage. It just didn't live up. Like, and I think it's because people compare it to the first series. Legend of Korra is good. It's okay. While Avatar itself, I would consider a masterpiece.
Right.
And it's compared to the first series, it was just like, did we really need Legend of Korra? Nah. It's the same thing I feel about Dragon Ball Super. My favorite anime, for people who don't know, is Dragon Ball. Did we really need Dragon Ball Super? No. No. We didn't. like we didn't. Like we really didn't.
Not really.
But that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Legend of Korra. I think the first season and the third season were its strong points. But when it came down to season 2 and 4, it just felt so flat and like very like shoehorned in. If we're being honest, like the writing just wasn't there. I think season 3 and season 1 actually had concepts they wanted to explore. From the first season, which is interesting. But at the end of the day, nothing really came together and nothing really gelled well together as much as the first Avatar, The Last Airbender. So it's Legend of Korra is just a cool concept that ended up being a disappointment, if that made sense. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of all I had for you, RJ. Anything you wanna say before we end things off?
No, not really. If you enjoy media, definitely for the anime whole, what is anime, what is not anime. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, guys. Enjoy what you like. Like what you like. The anime community talks about Avatar: Last Airbender just as much as they talk about fucking Naruto. Like it's whether it's anime or not is not gonna stop it from being a good show. So like what you like. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. Oh, you can argue if it's not anime, but don't let anyone discourage you from liking what you like. And also watch everything everywhere all at once.
Oh, please do.
If you take nothing away from this conversation, watch that film.
That was actually like my favorite part about this whole recording is us talking about everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, watch that film.
Please watch it.
Nothing else, watch that film.
That film specifically, just please, like, if anything. Honestly, this whole recording just reinforces that you need to make a YouTube channel where you talk about film because it's actually pretty interesting. Since you work in the industry.
Maybe one day, if OTR takes off and I'm able to hire an editor, because there's no way I'm editing another channel by myself.
Yo, you make a video where about all the MCU movies and what's good and what's not.
I would review them all, and people would not like my thoughts, but I would.
Okay, so be honest. Do you think the MCU like make the movies are a lot of them are trash to you, or no?
No, actually, I enjoy a hefty some of them, especially with the Infinity Saga. That whole era, I enjoy most of them. I see the flaws within them, but I still feel like they're enjoyable. For example, like Civil War. If you actually look at Civil War's plot, it doesn't really make sense. The villain in that, there's no way he could have predicted any of that would have happened. Within Civil War's plot, it was really convenient for him that all of that happened. But it's still an enjoyable movie. It's still a very enjoyable and it's very fun watch movie. I actually there are some MCU movies that people rate low that I did heavily enjoy. I enjoyed Ultron, the second Avengers. A lot of people hated that.
I thought you were gonna say Eternals. No.
I thought Eternals was okay. I think Eternals is overhated. I don't think it was that bad. As for things I disagree with the Marvel fan base, Moon Knight is terrible.
Dude, I couldn't finish Moon Knight. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I couldn't finish it.
Moon Knight was terrible. Miss Marvel, I liked the actress, I liked the cast, but the writing was awful.
Writing's trash. Yeah.
She-Hulk, I also liked the cast, I liked the actor, I like all of that, but the writing was awful.
Yeah.
To be honest, all the Marvel TV shows have been awful besides WandaVision and Loki.
Wow. Wow, even what is it? Even Falcon and Hawkeye. You think that one's
Falcon,
trash?
okay, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was okay. That was okay. Hawkeye was terrible. Hawkeye was terrible. Moon Knight was terrible. She-Hulk was terrible. Miss Marvel
Oh,
was
okay.
pretty bad.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
They were all pretty bad. Secret Invasion, I haven't even checked it out yet. Kind of don't want to. Um,
So basically, just the first three TV shows that Marvel made were good.
yeah, kind of the first three were good. WandaVision being the best for me, particularly. Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange was awful.
Oh, garbage, dude. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie, pretty
the
garbage.
new Thor, everyone said it was garbage. I enjoyed it, but I
was-
see why everyone hates it.
It was cool.
It was alright. Yeah.
Man,
Spider-Man killed it. I like No Way Home. No Way Home was good.
dude, it's a terrible rewatch. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
I tried to rewatch it. I'm like, yo, the shine and lust of the nostalgia is gone. I'm like, this show is just, or this movie's just whatever.
I heard that. I haven't rewatched it since the first time I watched it in theaters.
I low-key hope you don't rewatch it. I wish I could keep the good memories.
I heard it is a terrible rewatch. But I enjoyed it my first time watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my opinion on Marvel. I do think it's getting worse. Can it get better? Of course, anything can get better.
Do you agree with people that say Fantastic Four and X-Men are gonna save the MCU?
No.
Okay. There you go. I'm just curious because that's a take that everyone keeps saying. But
I don't think any new superhero is going to save the MCU. I think the problem with the MCU right now is specifically the writing. They are clearly just not caring anymore, and they're clearly trying to recreate a formula. They're trying to recreate the Infinity Saga. They're trying to recreate the formula, and they're just giving us Marvel stuff, right? So you get a Marvel movie, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get quirky characters, a line you can quote, some funny moments, and then some superhero doing some epic thing at the end to save the day. And it's just like, it's so draining because we've been doing it for 20 years now. And it's like the writers of Spider-Verse said. It's like the writers of I forget what other successful superhero movie just came out. But it's like the writers of Spider-Verse said. People Guardians.
Guardians, yeah.
James Gunn said, and Spider-Verse people said the exact same thing. Superhero fatigue is not superhero fatigue. It's the formula that the MCU has created. That's what people are fatigued about. It's the constant formula that they just keep pumping out, that you know what's going to happen at these movies, and you might get a little glimpse into what's coming in the future. Like, you know what to expect. Ant-Man, bad.
I mean that's why people like shows like Invincible and The Boys, because they're way different than the formula.
That's why Spider-Verse was the hit it was, because it broke that formula. Guardians as well was the hit it was because it broke that formula. It's not superhero fatigue. It's the formula that people are getting tired of, that Marvel keeps pumping out, the MCU specifically keeps pumping out.
Yeah.
And will they break that formula? Who knows? Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe one day.
But anyways, it's man, I always have really good conversation with you, RJ. I actually like really want to keep going with other stuff, but we've been talking for a while. We'll save it for another time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, great to have you. And honestly, I'm so glad that we got to talk about the writer's strike and the actor strike and everything, because I'm super just like not really understanding some parts, but I'm glad you were able to clarify a lot of things.
I mean, yeah, with the strike, it doesn't look good for the MCU.
Dude, movies are getting delayed left and right, bro.
It doesn't look good for the entire industry. So will Marvel get better at writing? Right now they're on strike. So
right now they have no writers. So
right now they have no writers. So yeah, no, doesn't look like it.
Yeah,
but yeah. With the strike, definitely for anyone out there who is a creative, who does enjoy fiction and enjoy these shows, there are people behind these shows. There are careers behind these shows. There are lives behind these shows. And if you do love watching them, I believe morally you should go out and you should support. And how can you support the strike? There is actually a way you can support the strike by not just protesting, but the donation site. There is a donation site where you can support writers and actors and basically the money will go directly to them to give them rent money so they can live and continue to strike for their rights.
Yeah.
So look that up as well. Just type in SAG donation. It's going to be the first thing that pops up.
Yep. And RJ's not jobless, guys. So
I'm not jobless. The strike
you don't have to worry about it.
the strike does not affect my independent filmmaking, other than the fact that I have to go through extra means of hiring a SAG actor at this point. But yeah.
All right.
Definitely support that. Definitely support the strike.
All right, well, that's good. That's good for sure. And of course, everyone here on my channel, and I'm sure everyone on the flow, we support everything that the writers and actors are trying to do. You guys deserve the pay you need, and you guys deserve to just be able to just get what you deserve for sure, and stop corporate from just being greedy on everything. Like, you don't need $30 million a year. Like, let's be honest, you don't. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. I don't know when this is gonna get uploaded, but yeah, I hope you guys love the series that I'm trying to do. Shout out to everyone that's going on. And yeah, I'm trying to make this a weekly thing, and we'll see how this goes. But yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. You already know what to do, and I'm gonna catch you guys later.